Welcome back to the Fans of the Home Team podcast. This is Kelsey, and this episode is going to be my interview with my good friend and former classmate, Megan. Megan's a huge Miami Dolphins fan, and I interviewed her about her fandom back in December of 2021, I believe. You'll love listening to the reason her dad became a Dolphins fan and their story of camping out at the airport for the team. Like Palmer and Jay, Megan went to grad school with Miranda and I. She's one of my favorite people from the program, and I can always count on her to call out my hot takes. Before the interview gets started, I just want to say thank you to all of those who have left a review on Apple Podcasts for us. We really appreciate it. Miranda pretty much cried at one of them. So if you're listening on Apple or even have access to the Apple Podcast app, please take a couple of minutes today to leave a review. It really does help us grow and get better. And we'll begin posting some of the reviews later this week. Without further ado, here's the interview that I did with Megan. Megan, how did you become a Miami Dolphins fan?
I tell anyone that asks this question, I have been doomed since birth. My dad was wearing a Miami Dolphins t-shirt jersey in the hospital. So my first family photo is my dad and my mom holding me, and my dad's wearing a Dolphin shirt. So I tell everyone doomed since birth. And we grew up in the Northeast. We're in the middle of Patriot country, and we were Dolphins. So
how did he become a Dolphins fan then?
I actually asked him that yesterday when I knew we were going to talk. I said, how did that happen? What? And he said, I really liked their colors and their logo. And I said, oh, well, that was not, I was thinking there would be a story. I have a story.
Right.
And his story was I don't really know. I just picked their colors. So, and it paid off for him when he was growing up, because he got to see Super Bowls and undefeated season and Dan Marino, and my low light list is longer than my highlight list. So
you're basically a Dolphins fan because your dad likes orange and teal.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
That's tough.
And you think your parents are telling you the right thing and leading you in the right direction. And here we are. So
misled completely, and then you had to deal with the rest of the AFC.
Yep. And our whole family are all Pats fans, because we grew up in Rhode Island, so everyone's a Pats fan. We used to get phone calls after every game we get beat. They'd call, you guys suck. From as far back as I can remember. I think when I really, really got into it, and I was really starting to understand the game. So maybe 14, I would get phone calls. Your team's trash. I'm
that's actually so messed up.
Yeah, it is. It's bad. So then the years we won, we would take holiday cars on the beach in our Dolphins gear.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd send it back because they were in the snow and not on the beautiful beach. And then we'd won. So it was that was the little highlights that we got. Yeah. In a game that never matters. It's the only time we win, or the games that don't matter at the end of the season when the Pats have already clinched. And that would be when we would win. And we'd be it's a win. You can't take that away.
It probably felt so bad for you guys to just let you have it.
Yeah, literally. They'd be all right, we'll leave it. It's fine.
Okay, Megan. See you next year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll see you when you don't make the playoffs again. Okay, thanks.
What were some of your earlier memories being a Dolphins fan?
Oh, man. So I tried to remember back when my first game was, and I can't remember. But I remember when we were little, because we lived up north, and Gillette was just far for us at the time, but they used to fly into TF Green Airport, which is in Rhode Island, and then they would drive over to Gillette. So we camped out at the airport and waited for them to get off the plane. And my dad was a cop at the time, so he knew where we could position ourselves near the fence to where they would get escorted out. And so we were little, just decked out in gear, holding up we have these Dolphins blankets, holding up our blanket, the only idiots out there, it was us. And the rest of the people are just it's literally us and security trying to escort them out. And that's probably my first my first real memory being a fan. Just camped out in the freezing cold, like December, waiting for them to get off the plane.
Waiting for the Miami Dolphins.
To disappoint me the next day. Yeah, basically.
They were probably surprised to see me.
Honestly, they probably were. They probably like, who are these dumb people standing outside? This poor guy and his kids are just standing out there waiting.
That's insane.
I know.
What have been some of your favorite memories being a Dolphins fan besides for that? Obviously, great one.
Honestly, I mean, us making the playoffs a few years back was cool. We lost, but like, it was like no one was shocked. I actually wanted to go to Pittsburgh for the game, but I couldn't make it work. I was finishing up winter semester, I guess, from college. And so I couldn't get up there. But I would say that was definitely one. The Miami Miracles, a big one. Again, just any way to stick it to the Pats, really. Like the number one rule of being a Dolphins fan is like you must hate the Patriots. Like that is like the number one golden rule. So anytime that we can do anything to, just stick it to them is a big day. And then the next day when we went to work, someone had taped a picture of the play of like Kenyon Drake running it in on like the Pats fans in our office's doors. So like when they got to work that day, just a picture of Kenyon Drake in the end zone. And then honestly, last year for us was such a big change of pace. Like, we won 10 games last year, which is like the first time we'd had a winning season in some time. And so just like the momentum with our defense being so good and how things looked last year was just like really positive going into this season. And then in Miami Dolphin fashion, it went crashing down. But
are you still on the Tua train or is people done with that?
So I think people are very, very quick to just, at least Dolphins fans are very quick to just say, nope, he sucks. It's bad. Because we've historically had awful quarterbacks. Like you look, every time I feel like we have a primetime game, they go through the stats of how many quarterbacks we've had in the last 10 or 12 years. And it's absurd. But I don't think it's fair to judge him off his first year. He came off a really gnarly hip injury. Also, like he was at Alabama. Like it's just you've got to see how he transitions. And so I think this year was, for me, like I said, after this year, that's when I'll kind of decide how I feel about it. And we still have half season left. So he had a rib injury. Now he's got a finger injury along with the rib injury.
Poor guy.
Yeah, poor guy. And it's his throwing hand. So why not? But so I think like after this season, we'll have a better idea. And maybe after this season, they'll figure something out. One of our first round picks, our best first round pick, went to Philly this year. So like we couldn't get a quarterback this draft anyway. But I think it's hard to write him off until you see how he finishes out the year.
Yeah, I agree. I think the teams that are historically not good are teams who typically give up on quarterbacks very easily.
Wow. And until you can like really try to transition them, like really give them a chance. Like I think when we had Josh Rosen too, and you're figuring out fits and whatever else we were doing, like he never got a fair shake. You set him up to fail. Throw him in when we're down 3 or 4 scores and expect him to like come out of the trenches. Like it's not gonna happen.
Throw it.
It's like just heave it. Just hope it's like teal and orange back there. Like it's not a good idea. So, and that's why like I think Tua didn't get a fair shake last year either. Like now he's got to be comfortable with his hip now. If you can't make plays now, like this is kind of the time. And at this point, then you reevaluate.
What have been some of your biggest heartbreaks being a Dolphins fan?
The end of last season.
Yeah.
I thought for sure we were making if you had asked me to bet my life savings on us making the playoffs last year, like I probably would have done it. Out of every year, historically speaking, like we had played so well. X was supposed to be defensive player of the year. Like our defense was killing it. And all we had to do was beat the Bills or the Ravens, the Colts, or the Browns had to lose. One of those 4 situations had to happen. And I was like, oh, we're in. Like, there's no way we're not in. And then we lost. We got kicked to, like, I think we lost 38-6. It was something absurd. And then the Ravens won, the Colts won, and the Browns won. So we didn't make the playoffs. And it was just such a brutal brutal way to end the season after we'd done so well, and then clearly that momentum continued. That downward momentum just continued this season after winning one. So that's probably my biggest one for sure.
That's tough. Yeah, just they couldn't come back from it either. Like, yeah, it's over.
Yeah, literally over.
Done.
And I think with the kind of not wanting to pay Xavier Howard this offseason, just put a lot of momentum, like letting him pretty much walk before you finally agreed to it. I think there's just been a lot of just bad blood in the locker room ever since.
Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah, that's how the Dolphins know they're doing the right thing.
Pretty much. Who have been some of your favorite players from the team from over the years?
So Jason Taylor is probably my favorite. At the time, he was just so good at what he did. Like, and then I hate when like really good Dolphins players also just leave to go to other conference teams. Like the man played for the Jets after. Come on, man. It's ridiculous. And then as he got older, my mom like started to like fall in love with Jason Taylor too. So then eventually there was just like a war between us, like who was going to marry Jason Taylor as I got older. Yeah. So he's married and has plenty of kids now. So that will never happen. But I didn't get to see Dan Marino play, but I just love everything that he's done for the team. Like he still worked for the team. Like when I worked for the team, I was always excited to like know if like Dan was coming. I was like, is he going to be here today? Like, is he going to do this stuff? Like and his foundation, the things he does with his foundation for the team, like are just fantastic. One of my other favorite people that ever play, conveniently, none of my favorite players play for this team anymore. I lied. Xavier Howard is great. So I'd say if I had to pick a current one, it's him. But I also loved Walt Aikens. He used to play for us. He got traded, and then I don't think he plays in the league anymore. But he's one of those people that like no one really knows. But he was a special teams beast. Like he killed it for us on special teams. And then anytime we had Pro Bowl players, he would go and just like he'd be like the guy behind the camera, just like goofing around, like hyping up our guys and stuff. And he was just like, he was really good for morale.
None of your 100 quarterbacks since you've been a kid then?
No, I will tell you that I root for some of them though. I do not root for Ryan Tannehill. I think he did awful things for our organization. But when I think Matt Moore was a very great backup quarterback for a while. And so when he went to Kansas City and then when he got to play, like I rooted for him. I was like, yeah, go ahead, man, do your thing. Ryan Tannehill, I can't do it. He ruined too many years for me, but
he's a scammer. He's
not good at what he does. It's very easy to just hand the ball to Derrick Henry now. He came out from A&M as a wide receiver, and then now he's a quarterback, and he can fake it. When you throw the ball up and A.J. Brown is going to jump up and find it no matter what, like you're not good at what you do. And he's never been good at what he does. He's just in a better position to make the playoffs.
He's going to be exposed now. So.
Yeah, exactly.
What makes you keep being a fan of the Dolphins year after year?
Oh, number of years of torture, basically. Yeah. I think it's just something that like me and my dad have just kind of bonded over throughout the years, and just kind of what we did on Sundays. Like we watched Dolphins games, or we'd go to Dolphins games. Like even to this day, like we'll have a Dolphins game on Sunday. My parents will be at home. We'll FaceTime kind of before, after, during. And like my mom will have on her jersey. We have hair bows that she'll put in, and she'll get her bracelets and she'll put her medallions on. I'm like, you're not going to the game. Like it's really okay. You don't have to wear this. And she'll just get hyped for it. So, and then I think when I met Lewis, he was diehard Ravens fan. He still is. And he'd like watch our games and like make fun of me when we lost. But like now, like he gets invested. He roots for them. He knows the players. He'll put the game on for me. Like that's love right there. So
what a guy.
I go to Ravens games for him, and I have a Ravens shirt for him. So it's a fair deal.
Yeah, fair shake. It's an interesting combination of teams.
Yeah, he bought when he was in Mexico, he bought us. They had like these hand painted skulls with team colors. So like mine has like Dolphins, like teal and orange all the way around and stuff. And so downstairs there's two of them. One's holding up a Maryland flag and one's holding up a Ravens flag. I'm like, this is the weirdest combination of shit. Anybody walks in here, they'd be so confused. They didn't know.
They would. If you're the GM of the Dolphins, what are some things that you would do to improve the team?
Finding out what the heck is wrong right now. But also just like at this point, we're probably going back into rebuild, right? I feel like we never left rebuild. So like just try things, like make the trade for that absurd player, trade away your picks, like do things to just like really try, like, and go down swinging. Like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you can't say that you didn't, try and you tiptoed around making trades or making big moves. Like do what you got to do. And if it sucks and it doesn't work, then fine. But we can't say we didn't try to actually take this division back, which we literally should have done when Tom Brady left.
I was going to say, now's the time.
The Buffalo did what we should have done. Like Tom Brady left and they said, we're going to take this division now. We just didn't do it. So we just need to make big moves and try it out and see what happens and go down swinging if we don't pay off.
Hopefully something works out. How would you describe the Dolphins community in one or two words, and why?
Tired. They're tired. It gets really hard to just watch this team lose all the time. It's so hard. And I think it's really hard when, we lived in Tampa for so long. And so like the Bucks are doing great. Like the Lightning have been so good. USF was good before I got there. Where I'm from, the Pats are good. So it's just like, how long do we have to just be that team that always sucks? And it's gotten hard. Like some of the fan pages that I follow were so pumped going into this season, and you could just feel the energy between them and us and people that follow them just drain. Like now they'll post final game recaps and it'll be like, no excuse, or I can't believe this. Like this is exhausting was one of them. Like, and it's exhausting to be a Dolphins fan. Like it's so hard. We've all been doing it so long. Like we just keep riding the bus and just hope that
it doesn't crash.
Yes. And hope it will stop going in circles, eventually find the exit for the winner's circle. And it probably won't happen, but we keep hoping that it will. It's like winning the lottery, right? Like you play every week hoping that like you're going to win. And like you never do. But you just keep playing because you hope like eventually it will just pay off and you'll win big.
Just like pure numbers, you'd think that it would be better sometime.
Yeah, eventually. And so we'll keep hoping, and we'll keep putting our jerseys on, and we'll keep watching on Sunday. And we just keep hoping and try to stay positive.
Last question. If you could tell the Dolphins community what they've meant to you over the years, what would you say?
It's meant a lot. I think not everyone gets the opportunity to like be a fan and then work for the team that they're a fan of. And it was just so great everyone I worked with there was so great. And then to just go and know that I had a piece in making like fans' days great, like making sure they could get in the stadium or making sure, they didn't miss kickoff so that they could come see whoever they came to see. And I think that just made me like really love the team even more, just knowing like how great they were too. And so it's definitely, it's been a bumpy ride, right? Like being a fan, but I think like I wouldn't have it any other way because it wouldn't be as fun, Like it sounds bad, but like if you win every week, what do you really have to look forward to?
That's true. Some people are spoiled.
Yeah, and like I think Pats fans were, and so everyone was quick to like write off Tom Brady or write off, the Pats. Now we're gonna be Bucks fans, or we're not doing this anymore. But we don't go through that because every year we still suck.
You have to go. It's better if you go through like 30 years of torture to get your Super Bowl win. It makes it better.
And I was not around for either one of them. But, we do have the small victories, like the undefeated season. And the fact that the Pats never took that from us, that's also one of my highlights, is the fact that the Pats never took that. Thank you, Eli Manning.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. And thank you to Megan for doing this interview with me and giving us an insight into your Dolphins fandom. Next episode is about what cities we think could use NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and MLS franchises, sprinkled in with some Miranda and Kelsey stories. You definitely don't want to miss it. Check out our link tree, which you can find in the description of this episode. This is our one-stop shop for you to find all of our social media accounts and also sign up to share your fandom story with us. So you don't miss any of our upcoming podcasts, subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening on. And like I said in the intro, please take some time to leave us a review. It really does help, and it truly makes our days. Thank you again, and we'll see you next Wednesday.